Hi there, I'm Andrew, you're watching ThatGamerAjax, and welcome to this week's class guide for tabletop role-playing game Veil of the Void. Today we're going to be talking about the Smuggler. Now this is a class that really allows you to channel your inner Han Solo from Star Wars, where you get to shoot first, ask questions later, and maybe cheat at a game or two of dice or cards or whatever you like. Now, the Smuggler is a class that really focuses on kind of hit and run tactics, as well as kind of excelling with piloting checks. So if you're going to be playing in a campaign where you're going to be traversing from planet to planet or galaxy system to galaxy system, this is probably a class that you're going to want to look at including in your party. Personally, I think it's a great class that offers a lot of combat and roleplay opportunities for new and experienced players. And if you tend to play something like a rogue, this is going to be the class that you're going to want to look into. So let's go ahead and dive right on into some of the strengths of this Smuggler class. So first and foremost, the bread and butter of this class is the trick shot mechanic. If you've played a Battle Master in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, this concept is going to be very familiar to you. Essentially, you have a certain number of points that you get on a daily basis that you can use to kind of fuel some of your shots, which, you can shoot an enemy and then have it bounce and ricochet and hit a couple of others. You can knock people down. You can do kind of like a blinding shot, make it so that way they have a harder time shooting on their next turn. There's just a lot that you can do with this, but you can only do it a certain number of times per day. So that is one thing that you're going to have to keep in mind when playing this class. Trick shots are also an ability that you get just straight up starting out with this class, and the longer that you play it, the more points that you get to fuel those trick shots, and eventually you're able to kind of use those points in various ways. Now, this is also a class that focuses on hitting fast and hitting really hard. When you get level 2 with this class, you get the ability to just straight up shoot first. It doesn't matter where you are in the initiative order when combat starts, you're able to get a free attack that way. Eventually, this is going to get to be a stronger trait where you're able to take your turn first. Doesn't matter where you are on that initiative order for the first round of combat. Unlike some of the other classes, Smugglers are one of the only classes that passively is going to get flying abilities that make it so if you're in a ship or you are piloting or doing whatever, you're going to have a much easier time with it. Now, I know that we talked about the Negotiator class and has a specialization that really allows you to thrive on a ship, but this is something that you just get without having to specialize into anything. Smugglers are also a very fast-talking class. This would be one that, if you're going to be playing it, I'd recommend investing some points in finesse, so that way your ranged weapons are going to be having an easier time to hit and do more damage. But I'd also recommend investing some points into charm, which is Veil of the Void's kind of charisma score, so that way you're able to kind of bluff and talk your way out of situations. This is also made easier by the fact that you have some passive traits that will be boosting your ability to talk as well. Now, let's talk about specializations. In Veil of the Void, when you hit level 5 with a certain class, you're able to specialize into one of the 3 distinct play styles for every class. So let's go ahead and break down what the Smuggler has available to it. First up, you have the Gunrunner. Now, the Gunrunner is a Smuggler that really focuses on space combat and can almost not be beat in dogfights because of the abilities that you're able to grant your ship, such as being able to stealth drive, instantly teleport out of something, and just get better benefits when using weapons on a ship. You have the Swindler, which focuses kind of more on stealth and sabotage tactics. You get benefits to hacking, and you're really good at setting up ambushes, and you can even make it so that way allies can get in on ambush rounds. It's not just you doing it. And lastly, you have, your inner Mandalorian, if that's what you want to play, and you can excel as a bounty hunter. This allows you to kind of track down targets, and you get in some insane bonuses against them, which is essentially like being able to cast Hunter's Mark from Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition on a target, and you can move that around and get, easier chances to hit and do more damage against those targets. Personally, I think that the Smuggler also only has a couple of weaknesses. One being that it's not a very good close range class. Eventually, you're kind of able to overcome some of the negatives from firing a weapon at point blank range, which usually makes it so you have a greater chance of missing. But up until you get to that point, this is going to be something that you are going to suffer in terms of combat. So you're really going to want to keep your distance, and because you're going to be focusing on probably that finesse and charm, which I would personally suggest doing, you're going to have a little bit lower health than some of the other classes. You also have more limited resources compared to some of the other classes because you have those fighter points that you're going to be burning through with your trick shots if you're not careful on how you use them. Now, you do get some points back on a short rest, and you'll get them all back on a long rest, but just keep in mind that you only have a finite number of these that you can use throughout an encounter. Lastly, Smugglers are one of the classes that is going going to be kind of dependent on your group being able to have access to a ship. So make sure that this is something that you talk with your game master before you even begin your campaign on whether or not that this is going to be a single planet or if you guys are actually going to be able to go to multiple planets. Personally, I think it would make sense to be able to go to multiple planets. That's, you know, a big part of a sci-fi game, but just make sure that you work through that first before you pick this class. So in conclusion, smugglers are a fantastic finesse-based class. You focus on dual wielding and, you know, shooting pistols more than anything, but you're able to do a lot with them that other classes are not able to do. You can also be a great fast talker, and, you know, like we said, this allows you to kind of channel your inner Han Solo if that's the kind of rogue type that you want to play. Personally, if you play either rogues or some kinds of fighters in Dungeons & Dragons, I think this would be a great starting class for you to try out with Veil of the Void. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of conversation going. We're almost done with all the classes in Veil of the Void at this point, so which one has been your favorite so far? And what are some that you might be looking forward to playing in terms of the classes in this game? Comment below, let me know, and please don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to get back on my weekly video uploads, so we will keep those conversations going. Until next time, see ya.